why the Farmland Saga and Vinland Saga is so far the most important arc of the entire series. I cannot take this anymore. I'm done with the feelings that I've known and buried on. The reason I say this is because really looking at, we see the evolution of like at least 3 to 4 characters mainly. Now there's evolution throughout the show, but I'm talking about the character development. We see that from Thorfinn, Einar, Canute, Prince Canute, or King Canute, and I will also go on to say even Omar, right? First, starting off with Thorfinn. The reason why his character development, well, also because he's the main character, of course, but it was so influential to the story is because in the start of Farmland Saga, because through the ending of the first arc where Askeladd dies, Thorfinn never got his revenge. He was lost. He lost all his purpose in his life at that time. He felt like there was nothing else for him to do, right? So he had gone into slavery, just lost, and he obviously was picked up by Master Keto, Cattell, and he was just a slave working there, right? He just had no purpose. He was just doing what he was told to do, all of that. Obviously, if you're with the story, you know that eventually Einar was also picked up by Keto as well and brought onto the farm. And this is the start where we see Thorfinn actually starting to change up his mindset. Einar really influenced Thorfinn's change from just having no purpose to actually finding one of the biggest purposes you can have in life. And so we remember the part where the hands were going and got Thorfinn and Einar, was trying to get them so that Omar could kill him or not. And Thorfinn was showing that he wasn't scared. And Thorfinn said, not a good thing has happened since the day he was born, right? Literally disregarding all the stuff prior to, he was distraught. He had screams during the night. Every time he sleep, he just had the nightmare. The dead people that he killed was always around him. And it took Snake to get him to realize that, hold up, I don't want to die, right? But it also took Einar to help him finally realize a purpose he could have by helping him cultivate the farm and stuff, the pasture Keto gave them and stuff. And it also took his meeting with Askeladd and the fake Valhalla place, whatnot, like where they all was like fighting at the warriors, stuff like that. It took that and him finally understanding that he has to atone for all this like killing he's done. Like he was a lot. In which, for all the killing he's done, the thing is, Thorfinn can never atone for all that, and he knows that. But all he can do is keep striving to finally find a purpose, in which he decided at the end of Farmland Saga that his purpose, his decision, and what he wanted to do was to make a place where there was no wars, there was no fighting, it was all peaceful, really making Vinland, right? Obviously, we seen his stuff with Canute and all of that, and how it was beef towards it, right? But then eventually Canute, and I loved it because Canute, we actually got to see King Canute actually laugh, and he was like, they actually working together in a weird way. They're working together, trying to bring peace in their own like separate ideals, right? And obviously there's other people that influence Thorfinn throughout Farmland Saga 2. Obviously as Arne, we have Masters Svikil, you know, the old master, it's hard to pronounce. We have Garter, and seeing all of those like really like wear Thorfinn down, kind of cut down to the roots so you can find out what to do. And eventually when Mr. Leaf had found him and everything, and it was just a great way to see Thorfinn build character development from being, you know, that snotty brat, not to just having no purpose, wanting to die, to finally finding something he can live for, to be a true warrior like Thor's was. And I really think that that was such an important key moment, a key arc in all of Vinland Saga so far. And I feel like that was one of the biggest character developments we've seen throughout that arc. Second, I want to talk about Einar. Now, obviously, Einar will be much quicker because Einar came in to the arc. We've seen the background of Einar and how his family was obviously attacked by Vikings and everything, by the kings and stuff like that. And we see how his mentality was. He came in hot-headed and all of that, and just ready to go, ready to fight. He had a presumptuous notion of how he thought things were supposed to be. Once he finally realized the real world didn't work like that, you know, it kind of broke him down a little bit. He got to kind of grow from it, dealing with the hands, being a slave, working, getting a lot of stuff, just being in a slave trade. Really, it all helped him to cultivate into a better character, in which he still has the same tendencies, still is quick to get angry, and stuff like that. But he was able to more help Thorfinn, which also helped him realize that he can calm down some stuff. He doesn't have to be so quick-tempered and stuff like that. I really think it helped the story. It helped build up a good side character, a best friend, a brother, to Thorfinn. And I really feel like without Einar, the story could not have been the same. Like, if Einar was not an existing character in that arc, Thorfinn would not have been or where he's at because of it. So I feel like that's also another big character development we got to see. It's not as big as Thorfinn's, obviously, but it was also another important character development. Thirdly, I want to talk about King Canute, right? We didn't get to see exactly like all the way how he got to the point where he was. I mean, obviously at the end of the first arc, we seen him finally grow into like an actual man, you know what I'm saying? He's not crying all the time. He's actually able to stand up for himself, make decisions, be authoritative and stuff like that. And I feel like it really helped him like conquer, obviously. But we also got to see the darker side of him in Farmland Saga. He didn't kill his father, but he was planning to end that, and he also he killed his brother as well, King Harold. That was dark. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it did surprise me when it was revealed that Canute had actually killed King Harold and poisoned him and stuff like that. And we got to see that he takes things a different route. Instead of always engaging and taking like the more noble, more Viking route, he does things a little different. Like, he poisoned, he didn't have to get so deep into having a 10-year span of trying to conquer Britannia. He poisoned the kings and got it that way. We saw him actually grow and develop his own way to get things done. It was dark. We got to see King Sven come back, and he'd be the only person that Canute was able to talk to for a long time, because they both were kings. They both knew the burden of having that crown. And because of that, we saw how paranoid Canute was also, not accepting any food or drinks, because he poisoned so many people. He's scared of getting poisoned. He's not close to anybody. I mean, obviously he had like Wolf and stuff like that, but just not really like having anybody around him. Floki was really not feeling him either. So it's like he's really on his own and trying to figure things out and work things out. And I really think that he was a big character development throughout the Farmland Saga. We got to, not so much his character development, but we got to see him for what he really was at the time. And then eventually, you know, making amends with Thorfinn, and they're able to like finally know that they worked on the same objective, maybe in different ways, but both for the same goal. And I feel like he was also a key character within Farmland Saga. And finally, I'm not gonna lie, I hated Omar for so long in the story. I really did hate him, but at the same time, we got to finally see some, like, we got to see him grow up, right? He was a snot-nosed kid, cussing out his dad, didn't want to do any work, just wanted to fight and battle, just like his older brother Thorgil and stuff like that. And for the longest, we saw him do that, and it was like he just wasn't with it. Like, he couldn't pull out the sword. He always thought people were downing him. And then when he actually went over to the king, he got embarrassed, couldn't cut through the pig, got in a fight, killed a man for the first time, and he got to finally experience what it was like to kill somebody. And then, you know, he felt blamed for the reason why Canute came and so much death was caused in the war between Kiddo's farm and King Canute. And I really feel like that changed him a lot, because by the end of the arc, we saw that he changed. Like, he finally stood up for himself. He was like, no, Thorgil, we're not doing this. His mom, no, Snake was on his side to help him. It was like, yeah, let's do this. Obviously, Thorfinn was already there and had his plans, but at least Omar was brave enough to actually go ahead and like know that, no, we can't beat the king. The king's forces is killing us. So much death, bloodshed that didn't need to happen. And so see Omar like actually like grow from that and not be the same character he was in the beginning. And finally, like, he even ran the farm, gave half of it away. And like the old master said that the riches that Kiddo had, he always said that it was going to end up being bad. Like, and so I feel like Omar realized that, grew up in a man, and gave half of it away, so he didn't have to deal with the stresses of having so many people in debt to him. He could focus on that. And I really feel like it brought so much character development and like growth and wisdom to Omar. And he finally grew up from being a little boy to man. That's what happens. Like, when people die, you just see how fast they grow up really fast. And I really feel like that has such a big role. We got to see him give gratitude towards Thorfinn and Einar by the end of the series. I loved it. It was amazing. And yeah, it was just overall also another character that had great character development. And I want to say last person is little complimentary person to add in was Snake. Snake, he was the same person throughout the Farmland Saga, but I did like the end part where he mentioned to Thorfinn and Einar that his real name was Rold, or Rold, I don't know how you want to say it, and I feel like that shows Snake did develop, getting closer with Thorfinn and Einar, and just really like developing as a character and stuff like that. And it was nice to see. And yeah, I just really feel like the importance of Farmland Saga and character development was great. Again, I know it's always said in the community that it's probably the best arc. People get mad that it didn't have a lot of fighting, but it really did have like a lot of fighting. It had a lot of good character development, had a lot of good story plots and stuff like that, and it was just had a lot of good dialogue as well. And it was just a great way to go ahead and near the end of the spring simulcast for anime. And yeah, I just wanted to say that, I wanted to rant that out a bit too. So yeah, thank you for all for tuning in, and if you can do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe if you can, and like always, man, y'all have a blessed day.